Makes you wanna go. Makes you wanna go. Na 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 na. Makes you wanna go.
Hey, Mickey G, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Golden Bronze. How are you?
Oh, good. Ready for the day to be over with, but not wishing my life away.
No,
Just ready to do some things.
that's what it would be, wishing your life away if you were wishing that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for joining me today with Gab, with Golden Bronze, Mickey G, and to everybody out there in TV land. We thank you for joining in today, as we know you could have been anywhere else. We do appreciate your stopping by to see what we're getting about today. We are also a sponsor of Golden Swan Cadre, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates against domestic violence towards women. Not only that, we advocate for women's health issues, including maternity, mental, self-care, and mindfulness. And we request that you would check out our Facebook page or our Instagram page to see what we're all about. If you think that we're a worthy cause, which we think we're a worthy cause, please, we solicit a donation anywhere from $1 as that adds up. But we would hope that your pockets would be a little deeper and your heart would be a little more sensitive to our purpose and donate to us. And later on in the show, we would tell you how you can do that. So we thought today that we would talk about self-care. That is one of our initiatives for Golden Swan Cadre, and that's something that we all need to do to take better care of ourselves. Self-care is very essential for maintaining overall well-being, both physically and mentally. It involves taking deliberate action to prioritize and nurture your own health and emotional balance. We're going to go through some key reasons why self-care is important. First of all, first and foremost, it prevents burnout. Regular self-care helps prevent burnout by allowing you to recharge your body with breaks or even long walks or moments of just rest and silence. You can reduce the constant stress that can lead to exhaustion. It does lower productivity when you're stressed out and burnt out, and it also causes emotional fatigue. So when you take the time out to prevent burnouts, you alleviate some of these things. So everyone should take breaks. Type.
Yes. Well, I can certainly relate to that. Okay, ready for the next point? It also improves mental health. Self-care can reduce anxiety, depression, and negative thinking by promoting positive coping mechanisms, whether it's through mindfulness, physical activity, or hobbies. These activities can help regulate emotions and alleviate stress.
And I absolutely agree, because when I am burnout, when I don't take those breaks that I just mentioned in preventing burnouts, mentally I become fatigued, like, oh, no, I just can't do anymore. I'm so tired. And mostly my tiredness comes from just mental stress. I feel like I can't take it anymore when I'm mentally burnt out as well as physically burnt out, which is my next point that I would like to make. Taking care of your body through your proper nutrition, through physical self-care, is taking care of your body through proper nutrition, exercise, which I get up and do that at least 3 times a week. I am going to try to be diligent to try to do it every day, but right now I can only find time for 3 times a week. So exercise and sleep is a form of self-care that enhances your physical health. When the body is well maintained, it can better fight illness, recover from fatigue, and helps you to perform daily activities of living more effectively.
Right. Yeah, having that immune system strong It's a good reason to get rest and all that. So, well, let's see. The next one is enhances productivity. When you feel rested, focused, and balanced, you're more likely to perform better at work or in your personal life. Self-care restores focus, energy, making it easier to concentrate and accomplish tasks effectively. Clears up that mind a little bit for you.
I have to agree with that because when I get a proper amount of sleep, I'm able to wake up more energetic with a boost of energy. And not only when we were talking about boosting physical health, getting that sleep, you look more refreshed, you feel more refreshed. The next day, you have that physical productivity that you just talked about, where you go in there like on 100, you're ready to get your job done because you got it, you got mental clarity and physical endurance to do that. So I have to agree that it does enhance our productivity. Not only that, though, when we're all tired and just like physically burned out, we don't want to be bothered with people and our partners or family members. So when you take care of yourself physically, mentally, getting enough sleep and all of that, it helps you show up for a more fully developed relationship. When you take time for yourself, you're more likely to be patient with other people, less short. You know how you can just be tired and snappy or irritable, snap at people because it's not them, it's you. You're tired, exhausted. So it's transformed in your behavior towards other people. And you have more understanding. If you take care of yourself by getting that self-care, you have more compassion for other people and you have more compassion with other people when you get the proper rest, um, get the proper exercise, all of those things we just mentioned. When you pay attention and give yourself those things, then it will strengthen your relationship with other people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-care is also care for others, just like you said. You have patience for others, you're more productive, you're not hard to get along with, which creates lag and other issues in a relationship if you don't take care of yourself and get clear.
Right. And piggybacking on that with our initiatives and Golden Swan Cadre, a lot of times, okay, we'll come back with that as soon as we take it. All right, thank you for coming back. As I was saying, when you pay attention to all those things that we mentioned previously, it helps you treat other people better. And I was elaborating on the fact that Golden Swan Cadre advocates against domestic violence / abuse towards other people. And an abuser towards someone might need to take care of his own or her own physical, emotional well-being. It could be a cause for their abuse, not excusing it, not making excuses for it at all. But we just said that showing yourself the attention to these matters reduces the probability that you might mistreat someone verbally or physically or something like that. And that was the only point that I was trying to relate, Mikki G. Thank you for letting me do that. Now you can go ahead with yours.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because there's always a root cause to things that happen. There's always a backstory. So it also increases self-esteem, which is important. Engaging in self-care reinforces the message that you're deserving of love and care, and we all are. It fosters a sense of self-worth, leading to improved self-confidence and positive self-image, which helps you in every space of your life, whether you're in the workspace or home and interpersonal relationships. When you feel good about yourself, you can present confidently to others and help others if you need to. So that's very important to have high self-esteem, healthy self-esteem.
And when you have that healthy self-esteem, it fosters resilience. Through self-care, you build resilience by developing habits that help you handle stress more effectively, whether it's through journaling or meditation or prayer are times outdoors, like you might even need to take a break and walk around the block. I do that sometimes. I just need to get out and get some vitamin D, breathe, whoosah. These practices help you to navigate life's challenges. You can do that with greater ease when you take the time out to do that. So the self-esteem fosters the resilience. It piggybacks on that.
Right, right. Yeah, we're important enough to take care of ourselves, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Right. So ultimately, everybody, we're saying that self-care is about nurturing yourself in ways that sustain your energy, happiness, and well-being, allowing you to show up as your best self in all aspects of life every day, every single day. Take care of yourself, and you'll present to the world your best self to everyone. Now, there are many ways to indulge in self-care, many ways to take care of yourself. And the best methods often depend on what you personally like doing, like relaxing or fulfilling some of your favorite things. Now, I will mention some, and we'll just piggyback on whatever comes to mind that we think we like to do. We usually end the second half with some fun stuff like this. So physical self-care, exercise. I just mentioned that I go to the gym 3 times a day. Excuse me, I wish 3 times a week. That was a dream. 3 times a week. Yes.
Where's your cake?
3 times a week. And I
Yeah.
wish I could go more. I want to incorporate that. Maybe that was the desire of the heart. I don't know.
Yeah.
That I go 3 times a day. But I like exercising. And I thought about yoga.
Mhm.
I thought about yoga. I wasn't sure if,
No,
I
we're
thought
good.
about yoga, but I wasn't sure. I mean, I tried yoga, but I wasn't sure I could do all the twists and turns and things. You know how you really have to be very flexible. I am, but not as much as they want. And I like swimming. That's on here, walking, swimming, and weightlifting. And I do all 3 of those. Sleep, getting enough rest is foundational part of self-care, which I don't get enough of. So I am trying to incorporate that into my everyday life as well. Massage or spa day every once in 3 years, I might do that. I really wish I could do that more often. I know, Mikki,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna stop in the middle and let you say a little bit about some of this, and then we'll move on. Healthy eating. Now that I do. I'm pescatarian and mostly vegetarian. When I eat meat, it's fish. And so that is supposed to be healthy and helping you to fuel your body and treat yourself. But, it does help your cholesterol, I can tell you that. And a skincare routine. I have a very good skincare routine. So, Mikki G, let's just pause right here and tell me, what do you think about some of those things as far as being self-care
The,
principles?
the physical self-care, what you were talking about. I do not go to the gym 3 times a day.
I don't either. I'm putting that in the universe. 3 times a week. I don't know what made me say day, but okay, everybody.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't go as often as I need to. I would do well to go 1 time a week, but I'm trying to do better to do that.
Yes.
Because it is important to your body. I went and
you went today?
I couldn't get a parking space. That was yesterday. I just drove around and drove around. I said, let me go home. But I'll get there.
That was
But
exercise.
You're driving. But you were talking about yoga. There's some ways that you can stretch your body with yoga. I remember taking yoga because I'm not a contortionist, but they have these blocks that you put your body on and you breathe, and it tends to stretch your body out. I was really surprised about that.
I have to check into that.
Yeah, check that out.
That's
And
funny.
then
I did yoga one day, and then I had to think, like, what did I do that for?
Yeah, it's good for. I don't particularly like it, but when they did it like that, it wasn't too bad. But I've heard Tai Chi is good. I've not tried Tai Chi yet, but I'm interested
I have
in
no
doing
idea
that.
what that is.
Yeah, That's a slow movement. I think stretching kind of thing is it's an Asian type of exercise that's gentle on your body. And so you mentioned
Mhm,
that, and I clutched my pearls because you said massage.
mhm.
This girl
Oh,
loves a good
yes.
massage.
Yes.
It doesn't happen often
Yes,
enough.
I know they're lovely.
Yeah, yeah. And isn't it good for circulation
I
too?
am going to start taking better care of myself and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I want to tell
yeah.
you something funny though. I always like to add a little humor to what we do. I went to a Zumba class.
Mhm.
Girl, I was like, what am I trying to do? Have a heart attack? If I keep up with them, girl, I had to sit on the
Mhm.
floor. Y'all go ahead on. But I'll tell you about that when I come back. It's just a little
Yeah.
funny. We'll be Thank you for joining us again. So, enough of the funny business, but that was true. Mental self care is very important, and it is also one of Golden Swan Cadre's initiatives. Mindfulness and meditation is very, very important. Practicing mindfulness or meditation helps calm the mind and it reduces stress. And sometimes you may just need to just take a quiet moment to yourself with the TV off, the radio off, close your eyes, and just think about whatever comes to mind and then pray about that. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. Sometimes you have to center yourself. I've also been told to ground, which means standing outside in the grass and just feeling the earth under your body. And sometimes in
Yeah.
meditation, they say just don't listen for every little sound. Turn everything off and listen for the smallest sounds, the birds outside, a car going by, and that centers you. I've also meditated with rock painting, because you have to
Yeah.
focus on something. And so that calms me.
Yes. But Mickey, what you said about centering yourself or standing,
Yeah.
what was that you just said? The term
Grounding,
standing, grounding.
grounding.
Okay.
Mhm.
I remember as a kid, I used to like to lay a blanket out and get under a shade tree and take a nap. And I enjoy just listening to the birds and the sounds of the earth, the what was around my surroundings, the quiet stillness. And then when I lived in California, we lived near the Calaveras Mountains. I used to drive as a teenager, yep, like 18, 19, up into the mountains and lay my blanket out and read and just lay there and listen to the sounds of the earth. And that has to do with what you said about grounding. I love to go to the beach and just lay out and listen to the water and the seagulls and things like that flying around. It's something about nature and its sounds that I do love. So that does calm me. Mickey G, it's interesting you said that. Those sounds calm me and make me feel grounded, as you
Yeah,
said. Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah. One with the
And
earth.
speaking of reading,
Mhm.
yeah, that must, I just realized that's something that I really, really enjoy. So I also told you how I used to like to lay the blankets out and read. Well, I love to read. And I gave a whole bunch of books away when I relocated. Now I kind of wish I hadn't because I could read some of the old books, but I'll get my library back up to par. But I used to like in my evening just reading a book. It calms me, centers me, and grounds me, as you said. And they say if you dive into a book or engage in learning something new, such as an online class or project, which we do a lot of that too, it is relaxing at the same time. Even though you're learning, it's relaxing.
Right. Well, for me, I do a lot of word puzzles. And so that relaxes me, just doing word games. It engages my mind, but it's relaxing too.
Yeah. And journaling, that is another way. I don't do too much of that. I used to, but I have a daughter that journals everything and a granddaughter, they journal everything. So they like that as well.
Yeah.
They say if you take a break from social media, detox from social media, emails and anything online, that is relaxing. That's self-care. And I believe that too, because sometimes I just have to put the phone down and say, I just can't do it this evening. You know what I
Right.
mean? Especially
Right.
during the election time. There's something about social media and the presidential election that stresses me out. So I just swipe to the left when it comes to reading stuff about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Even watching the news, you can unplug from that, and
yes,
it reduces stress just about like social media because
absolutely.
it's stressful.
I know. Listening to the news makes you wonder what in the world are we living in? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. If it bleeds, it leads. So,
yes. And also, excuse me, also emotional self-care is very important. And so, in order to have healthy emotional status, you have to set boundaries. You have to protect your emotional well-being by saying no when it is needed, which is something else that I have trouble doing, is saying no. And but you need to set those boundaries. And me, I have a problem saying no because I don't want to upset anybody. The person that gets upset is me, because then I start feeling overloaded, which causes me a lot of emotional stress. So that's a word that I'm having to learn how to say and not feel bad for saying it.
right. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Affirmations.
Hmm.
This is probably something that I could see you probably do. Practice
Hmm.
positive self-talk and affirmations to build confidence and self-esteem. You just look like a person that does affirmations. I know a lot of people that do and are always sending them to me, to encourage and motivate me. They'll send me words of affirmation.
Yeah. Well, it may surprise you. I probably affirm other people more than I affirm myself, but sometimes I
Yeah.
do get up and do that, affirming myself, but it's important. It's
I
important.
see that you do that with other people. I see that a lot on social media where you're giving words of encouragement and words of affirmation and all of that to the world on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And, I thought about something you said earlier about saying no and setting boundaries.
Yeah.
I just had someone call me today with what was their emergency, but your emergency
Yes.
is not my emergency. If
I need to
if you're
learn it.
spazzing out about something, that's not my problem. If I can help
Right.
you, I will help you in the time that I can help you, but I'm not going to make it my emergency. And no is a
Yes.
complete sentence. You don't have to explain why. Can I borrow? No. Can you do? No. Can you come? No. Sorry.
I need
You
to
know.
learn that word because me, it's like, no, but the reason is when I don't
Yeah.
have to give an explanation or can you do this? No, the reason is when it's just
Yeah.
simply no. And then a lot of times when you follow up no with a rationale, then they come back with the reason why you should do it.
Right.
You know,
It's not a debate. It's not a compromise, but I'm the same way. Sometimes I'll tell them why, but I know it's a complete sentence, so it's something I have to work on as well.
yeah, yes. Okay, well, let's see. Besides that, they said if you spend time with people who uplift you and support you, whether it's a phone call, video chat, or in person, that alleviates stress. That's emotional self-care. And God knows it is. Because when I'm feeling so bummed out, to hear somebody else rationalize why I did what I or didn't do or whatever I did makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we'll get into that a little further in just a moment. So thank you for coming back to spend the rest of the day on the rest of our time on Gab with Goldnbronze. Mikki, would you like to comment on anything that I've said so far?
I would. You were talking about the video chat and talking with
Mm-hmm.
people on the phone. I much rather talk to you than text with you. And I really like to see you,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we're not in the same space. I want to see you, just like I see my grandchildren. I don't live in the same
Yes.
city with some of them, and I do live in the same city with some of them, but they're little. And so I miss so much. And so being able to see them and talk with them, it just does so much for me in the mental health area. Laughing with them
Absolutely.
is amazing.
Yeah, that's why it's good to say, hey, let's go have brunch or lunch or, something like that. Let's catch up doing something like that. Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, not only that, I'm sure that you have done some of this. I have. And it's therapeutic, and that is therapy or counseling. Seeking professional help when needed can be a powerful, powerful form of emotional self care. And I am not afraid to say I have had some counseling to get me through some very rough times in my life. Might have been during heartbreak or just traumatized by something someone said or did to me, and it broke my heart or left me at a place of uncertainty. So I had to go talk to someone that's total stranger to me that could just hear me out and give me some insight. And I found that to be very therapeutic and helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Where girlfriends can't go, a good counselor can. Because there's some things you can't talk to your girlfriends about or your family about. And you need a professional to help you weed through some of those things that you're going through, especially trauma. And I've done it too. I'm a proponent of good therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, along with therapy, and I heard you say something about painting rocks. They say that try painting, drawing, knitting. They is, I guess, just the internet. Often people say, that's what I should say,
Right.
that painting, drawing, knitting, or any kind of creative activity helps you to relieve stress. And for you, it was like painting the rocks or whatever. For me, I like doing creative stuff with social media and videos and stuff like that. Be creative with my mind that way. I like to write poetry. So I'm creative writing poetry. I have 2 unpublished books of poetry. I'm creative with cooking. I like to go in there and I get just stuff out of my cabinet and refrigerator and put it together. And my kids would say, "What is this?" And I would give it a name. Karen, whatever. Oops.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, and so I get creative with that.
Yeah. Well, that's the sign of a very good cook when you can make something out of nothing, or just
Yes, ma'am.
create something. Yeah. I used to do that with my children. When we didn't have a whole lot, I'd look in there and find, okay, we have ramen noodles. I can put some broccoli and some cheese and some smoked sausage. Okay. And we'll bake it in the oven. And it came out pretty good. I named it stuff, But
I did too. I gave mine a name.
I named some of it after my
That's
children.
like, Mommy, what do you call this? What you fixed? And I forget what I called it at the moment. Could you fix that again? And I just threw it together, right? It's like, okay, can I recreate this dish?
Yeah, and I didn't know you wrote poetry.
But also, oh yeah. Well, when you come, I'll share my luck. I found them since I relocated my books. I think when we interviewed Free Soul, I mentioned the one. What's the name of his book?
My Alien Nation.
Okay, when we interviewed him before we got on TV, I mentioned on that interview that I had 2 unpublished books. They're not, his is published. I didn't publish mine. I remember my grandmother telling me to, but I didn't know how. And so I just didn't do it. But I do still have them. And I remember her asking me if she could keep them. When I got married and moved away, she asked me if she could keep them. And I said yes. And then when she passed, they were gifted back to me, so I have them still.
Very nice. Yeah.
So yeah, and music is another creative way to feel energized and relaxed, and sometimes just putting it on your Pandora or Sirius XM or whatever is cool. But I have a collection of vinyl and CDs and 8 tracks and the players, and so I like to go all the way back and just reminisce and play it, the vinyl and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool that you have the vinyl. That's real cool. Yeah. I like music too.
Yes.
They say music soothes the savage beast, and it does.
Yes.
I use music before I go to
It
bed
does.
at night. I'll turn it on YouTube and have piano music, and rain and thunder, and I turn my timer on and I go to sleep to the music. It just soothes me.
Mhm. I come from a musically inclined family, and I played the piano and the violin. My youngest daughter, plays the drums, trumpet, and piano. My oldest daughter was athletic, and she was sports inclined. My Many of my cousins on my father's side play the organ, piano, drums, and we have some that are well known that sing and write
Yeah.
music, and it's something that I always enjoyed doing. And it just my parents always played music in the house coming up, so I have a collection from jazz to country, to be honest with you, and I even like um, Beethoven and all that
Yeah.
stuff, classical music. I like the elevator music.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing I don't like is heavy metal. I don't
Uh,
like all that clanging and banging and
I
screaming
understand you.
and yelling. It's not to me. So
No, no.
don't get mad at
Even
me, metalers, but that's my preference. I don't
yeah,
care for heavy metal. Love it as much as you like.
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
writing, writing poetry, short stories, even it streams your consciousness through thoughts, and it brings out your creative side. So again, I mentioned that I write poetry, and I'm going to write a book, um, and stuff like that. Do we have a few more minutes?
We'll probably need a break in about 10 seconds, but we can go and come back.
Okay, so I think
Okay.
that we will go ahead and take that break, and we'll come
Okay.
right back.
All right.
So thank you for returning. Mikki, do you do any writing at all? Any kind of writing?
You know, I have. I actually did write some poetry years ago, but I haven't written in a long time. You know, when I would go through things, I would write about them. And I found them not too
Yes,
long ago. I wrote them back in the 90s, but I haven't written in a long time. But I do like to creatively write about certain things. I am a creative, so
yeah,
you know, I like to tell stories. I'm a storyteller, and I think I do some of them on social media. I talk about certain things, and so I do like to
yes.
do. But actually writing, no, not so much.
I have to figure out how to do my book that I've mentioned to you for about a year.
Yeah.
And I would also like to maybe possibly get some of my poems published. I have a want to do list that's long as my arm. And I also would like to, since I have my cooking channel, do some recipe, maybe do a cookbook. Because a lot of those recipes I make up, just I mentioned, so maybe I might want to share some of them. But those are ways to do creative self-care. And the last one that I want to mention is environmental self-care. Like, this is not so much to me a way to de-stress, but for some people it is, not for me personally, and that is to declutter. Organizing your space, to me that's work, but organizing your space can create a more peaceful, stressful environment. To me that's work. That's not alleviating stress. To me
Yeah.
that's causing some stress. But what do you think about declutter? Do you think that's a form of de-stressing?
Well, it just depends on how much work it is. But I like things organized, but I kind of have organized chaos. I know where it is, but I'd rather pay someone else to do it than me do it. I feel very
Yeah, to me,
comfortable
that's
in
not for me to de-stress.
yeah.
That's causing me stress. If I got to go do some more work, that means I got to find some more time in the day, and it's only 24 hours left. I heard.
Yeah,
But
indeed.
also the nature walks. We did mention walking, spending time in nature, whether it's in a park, beach, or forest, can be refreshing. And so a lot of people like to do nature walks just to hear the grounding, as you mentioned earlier, the birds and the sounds and stuff might be part of that grounding that you mentioned.
Yes, yes.
And they say if you set a comfortable, cozy corner in your home where you relax, read, and meditate, I guess that could be a form of de-stressing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to sit up on my bed with all my pillows. I stack them like 3 deep. And I sit up on my bed and I have a throw that I put over me and I turn the ceiling fan on because I like that breeze on me and just sit. That's like my corner. I sit in my bed and just
Okay.
enjoy something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is, I guess that is to create a cozy space is a form of de-stressing. And
Right.
then spiritual self-care is for me, prayer or reflection. That may not work for everybody, but it does for me. For those who are spiritual, taking time for prayer or reflection can be very spiritually nourishing. And
Yes.
it is definitely something that I do every day.
Right. Right. When you were talking about spiritual, I go more sometimes toward the worship music to edify myself, worship or praise music, and think about the good things that God has done for
Mhm.
me and how much I appreciate
Yes,
God and what God has done for me. So it's kind of more that for me in that spiritual space, or I'll just take time to reflect on all the things that I've been blessed with, my life, my health, my family.
yes,
So I'm very grateful. Gratitude is basically a spiritual practice in my mind.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
And focus on what you just said. That I shouldn't have to repeat it. Focus on what you're grateful for.
Right.
That was the next point I was going to make, but you made it, so I don't need to repeat it. And connect your values. Align your actions with your core values to feel more fulfilled and to feel more at peace with yourself. So see if your core values align with the way that you are, and you'll be more at peace and less stressed that way.
Right, right. And that speaks to who you actually are. If you're being yourself, you don't have to pretend to be anyone else, and there's less stress in that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is a thing called social self-care.
Mhm.
And that is, we've talked about it inadvertently when we want to see people. You
Yeah.
said, sometimes I want to see you. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, like having brunch, lunch, or dinner with a friend. That is what we call social self-care. You plan a low stress get together like a coffee date, movie night, or dinner with friends. And that's certainly a good way for me to de-stress. I like to get out amongst good girlfriends and laugh
Yeah.
and have fun. Just be goofy if that's what we want to do. And laugh and have fun.
Yeah. I can
And
relate.
yeah, and that goes along with joining a community, whether it is volunteering with Golden Swan Cadre or the Red Cross or whomever, any of your favorite nonprofit organizations. You can partner with them, come to their events, go out and partner with them and volunteer with them. Um, Anything like that is very socializing and it's uplifting and it feels good when you actually know you are helping other people.
Right. Right. And it often takes the focus off of you and what you're going through when you're helping someone else.
Yep, yep, yep. And the major thing is to unplug from toxic relationships, no matter who they are. I mean, you can't own toxicity and feel good in the space that you're in. So distance yourself from relationships that drain your energy or that negatively impact your well-being. And that's been something that I've had to do, and it was hard for
Yeah.
me because that those people were once close to me, and but they brought with them toxicity.
Right.
And that toxicity, even if it's theirs, it can weigh on you trying to be
Right.
their support person. So sometimes you have to just make a hard decision. Their well-being, my well-being. Pick,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You want good energy around you, not energy drainers. You want energy lifters.
Yeah. So, sometimes I may just say, I'm not doing anything tonight. I'm just going to watch a good movie. I might even do, what do they call it when you watch one right after the other after a series? You just
Binging.
binge. watch.
Yeah.
There's times that I'll just binge watch for 4 or 5 hours, watch one right after the other. And then I like to watch the ones that I most enjoy, whether it's funny or drama, whatever. And just with my popcorn and my drink and just me. All righty. So we will take a day off of work or plan an adventure. Those are the last two things that you can do. And each of these self-care activities can be adjusted to fit your needs. And it's important to explore what works best for you. The goal is to engage in practices that rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit, leaving you feeling more balanced and refreshed. And so if you do all of those things, then you should be able to decompress some. And so we will wrap it up here. I'll let Mikki G do a closing, and then I'll come back and make some final statements, and then we'll close.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad we had this conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I want to let you all know that you can see Gab with Gold and Bronze show on the DuPont TV network, brought to you by Village Global Network TV, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Please tune in and we'll see you there. And in addition to that, we talked about Golden Swan Cadre and how to donate. So I'm going to give you the channels with which you can do that. So first of all, it's Chime. You enter $ Golden Swan Cadre. The G, the S, and the C are uppercase. So make sure you do it that way so you can find this easily. PayPal, you enter the Golden Swan Cadre.com at gmail.com, I'm sorry. Or go to our website, www.goldenswancadre.com. And on social media, you may go to Instagram and find the charity section and enter the official _ Golden Swan Cadre. Finally, Facebook, visit charities and find Golden Swan Cadre. Please join us in making a positive impact for women today, and we thank you in advance.
Absolutely. And so I want to thank everybody for coming to Gab with Gold and Bronze today to see what we're gabbing about. And we hope that we did help you a little bit of talking about self-care and mindfulness, because it is important to take care of oneself so that you can show up to be the best self that you can to the world. And everybody is to yourself as well. So we do thank you for tuning in today, and we will see you tomorrow on Gab with Gold and Bronze. Bye-bye.